Welcome to Talley's Forum on Wireless Communication. I'm Charlie Bulleit, Talley's National LMR Sales Manager. I'll be your host for the next 10 to 15 minutes as we explore the world of wireless communications. This is the first in a series of podcasts which will focus on the wireless industry. We hope that you find our time together both entertaining and informative. Today's topic is in-building communication and the growing demand for it over the last couple of decades or so. Our guest today is Bill Dow of Westel. Bill, welcome. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Charlie. It's great to be here. Again, my name is Bill Dow, and I am the sales director for Westel in the Northeast United States.
Bill, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to be here today. We know everybody's schedule is very busy, and we appreciate it. Our topic today is in-building wireless coverage, as I mentioned before. It's something most of us need and use in our everyday life. We just are not fully aware of when we're using the technology. In-building wireless coverage improves our two-way radio and cell phone coverage in buildings and enhances the services we receive while in a building and improves our individual safety and security. It's our hope that this podcast will assist you in better understanding in-building wireless coverage and the massive growth that is undergone and is expected to undergo in the future. Today, we'd like to discuss the growth of in-building communications, where it all got started, what the driving forces are, and how Westel has responded to the needs of our communities. And finally, the role distribution has played in the whole process. Bill, can you provide us with a short summary of how it all got started?
Many in this industry would say that the technology itself started after the 9/11 event in New York City. There was a lot of radio issues during that event, and first responders were not able to talk to each other.
I can remember back then when President Bush formed the Warren Commission to study the events of 9/11, and more importantly, to identify what needed to be corrected moving forward to keep that from ever happening again. And I remember three key areas were identified by the Warren Commission, one of those being interoperable communication. And that was the police department's ability to communicate to EMS, and EMS to communicate to fire, and fire to communicate to the Port Authority, and all four of those agencies to operate as a unit together. And that didn't happen. Would you not agree, Bill?
Absolutely true. That is exactly what the commission came up with as the problem. And from that study came as a very practical matter, a rethinking of police and fire agencies and EMS first responders as a whole. In the past, they had these disparate radio systems where the fire talked on one band or channel and the police talked on another, and never the two came together. So what happened is they got together, they pooled resources, re-looked at response plans, and developed and planned regional type radio systems. Many states did it at the statewide level, where all first responders can respond to the same or different instances and have interoperable communications between each other. So many of those did that at the 700-800 megahertz band because of the quality of the band and the ability to apply high technology groupings to 7 and 800. What happened when they moved to those systems is they got off most of the old VHF and UHF, and there's still a lot of VHF and UHF around, but 800 and 700 does not talk into buildings as well as VHF and UHF did in the past. You couple that together with the energy efficiency construction techniques used in our buildings today, like e-glass and very thick walls, and some of the techniques that they use now to make these buildings energy efficient. All those things are kryptonite to RF signal. E-glass is like pointing a flashlight into a mirror. It just deflects RF. So there needed to be a practical solution to let first responders talk inside those buildings.
Sounds like we were dealing with several different driving forces. But how has Westel responded to the growing demand? And what types of products did you bring to the market to react and fulfill the needs?
So in the early teens, Westel acquired a company called CSI out of Manchester, New Hampshire, which was Cellular Specialties Incorporated. Cellular Specialties was a company that created these in-building bidirectional amplifiers for the cellular market. So very commercial type application, but they work very well. And we took that product and adopted it to the public safety bands. I started in 2017, and we had just a couple of models available. And since then, we've come up with channelized BDAs, battery backup systems, antennas, external and internal, and accommodated the VHF, UHF, as well as the 700, 800 megahertz band.
How has the partnership with distributors such as Talley created success?
Well, distributors like Talley played a very big role in this evolution of product. I am one of a very small group that works for the manufacturer, and the idea is that we should do what we do best and manufacture a product, and allowing in this ecosystem that I call few to many, we allow the Talley people to be the feet on the street and take the word and develop the integrators. And if we teach Talley correctly, Talley teaches the integrators correctly, then we have a system of distribution that is both efficient from a financial standpoint and a practical standpoint, where we move product into the warehouses of distributors and move that product closer to the integrator at a very fair price. And this works out very well for all involved.
I understand we can pick it up where you leave off through our 11 locations across the country and our 30 or so salespeople on the street working with our customers and contractors.
Absolutely correct.
We hope you found today's podcast both informative and entertaining. We've tried to leave you with a better understanding of how in-building wireless coverage impacts our daily lives and enhances services, productivity, and the safety and security of people. Bill, we would like to thank you and Westel for being our guest today. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Just one concept I'd like to kind of summarize about Westel. Westel delivers value through a number of different ways. We engineer towards value to be more efficient in our systems and cost efficient, and focusing on performance. Our offering into groups at a discounted rate and allowing the integrators, our partners, to be more competitive. Westell delivers value, and that's very important to us.
Great way to sum it up. We know your time is limited and important. Thank you for choosing to spend a portion of it with Talley today. If you find our message informative, please subscribe, share, or provide feedback. Thank you.